Diddy facing life in prison. Wow. Just wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just another celebrity scandal, is it?
No.
This is big. Sean Diddy Combs.
Huge.
We're talking about Diddy, right? Parties, success, hip hop. And now these charges. I mean, it could be it for him, couldn't it?
Potentially, yeah.
Correct.
These are very, very serious charges.
So let's get into it. We're going way beyond those headlines in this deep dive. We want to figure out what's really going on here. We've got the indictment, we've got legal analysis, we've even got some pretty wild details about what was allegedly happening behind closed doors. Are you ready for this?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Okay.
I think, honestly, we have to start with the gravity of the charges, right? Racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. And then on top of that, we've got transportation for purposes of prostitution.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And these carry serious weight, especially for someone in Diddy's position.
You're right. This isn't like, some DUI, right? These aren't just accusations of individual misconduct, are they?
Exactly.
So let's unpack it. What does it actually mean when we talk about racketeering conspiracy? Because that feels more like, mob bosses, not music moguls.
Yeah, you've hit on something there.
Have I?
Racketeering really is usually about organized crime. So what they're saying is, this is bigger than Diddy.
Oh, wow.
That he was part of a bigger criminal enterprise. And that changes things. They can bring in so much more under this umbrella, under ICO. And importantly for Diddy, the sentences, way longer.
Wow. And then on top of that, we've got the sex trafficking charges. And, obviously incredibly serious in their own right. The indictment uses this phrase, force, fraud, or coercion.
Yeah.
Can you break that down for us? What does that mean in this context?
Of course, yeah. Essentially, they're saying they can prove that Diddy was involved in exploiting these people for commercial sex, either through force or threats, through deceptive tactics, or just using his power to make them do it.
So he's got the power, right? He's got the money, he's got the influence.
Exactly. And that in itself can be coercion. So it really points to this pattern of abuse, and I think that's why they structured the indictment the way they did.
You're saying the indictment, the document itself, tells a story.
Exactly. Rather than focusing on, he said, she said, individual incidents, they're building this whole narrative. Like this whole thing was a bigger operation.
Wow.
With Diddy at the center. They're laying out this pattern, highlighting other people who might get wrapped up in this. It's laying the foundation for this mountain of evidence they seem to have.
Speaking of evidence, we have to talk about what they found at his homes.
Yeah.
Electronics, weapons, drugs.
Yeah.
And over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. And that's a direct quote from the property receipt.
Yeah.
1,000.
It's something, isn't it? It's hard to ignore, but I think you have to look at it in context, right? As sensational as it might seem, it really speaks to the scope of this investigation. They weren't messing around.
No.
This wasn't a casual search. The feds were looking for evidence of something huge.
And that's where those electronics come in, right? I mean, we're talking potential gold mine here.
Yeah.
Text messages, emails, financial records, who knows? Maybe even audio recordings, videos.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that stuff is often the key in cases like this. Digital evidence, it can back up what witnesses are saying. You can use it to build timelines. It can reveal connections you wouldn't even think about. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it's all that digital stuff that's taken so long to go through.
You figure they've been sitting on this for a while, huh?
Well, I'd say so. It's a lot to sift through.
Yeah. Makes you wonder what they found, what's on those devices. And speaking of things that are hidden, the indictment mentions AR-15s.
Oh, wow.
With defaced serial numbers found in his bedroom closet.
In his closet?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, those are some serious weapons.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that those serial numbers were, allegedly altered, it kind of suggests they didn't want anyone to know where they came from. And that could mean even more charges.
Wow. I mean, it makes you think about the bigger picture here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if this is all true, we're talking about someone who had all the power, money, influence, and allegedly he used it to take advantage of people, to control them.
It's a lot to unpack, and we have to, as a society, talk about how this keeps happening, these power imbalances, especially in the music industry.
It's always been there, hasn't it?
Always.
Yeah.
And too often, it's brushed under the rug or even, celebrated.
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
And it gets even more disturbing when you consider the sheer number of people who might be involved in all of this. The prosecution, they've said they've spoken to more than 50 victims and witnesses. 50! That's That's huge.
That's a message right there. This isn't a small thing, this goes deep, and that many people. It suggests this pattern of behavior. It wasn't just a one-off.
Yeah.
This is a long time, a lot of people, probably a whole network of people helping him, enabling him.
50 victims, 50 witnesses. I mean, even if half of them, even a quarter of them have told the feds things that back up their case.
Yeah.
It's dark, really dark. And then you think about the people who haven't come forward.
That's always the thing, right? In these types of cases, the power dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in music, it's all about money and status, and it makes it almost impossible for people to speak up. They're afraid,
Of course.
Afraid of what he could do, afraid no one will believe them, afraid it'll ruin their careers. It's very real.
And we've seen it time and time again, right? This culture of silence, we hear rumors, whispers for years. But this indictment, this feels different, doesn't it?
It does. This is big. Could be a real turning point, not just for music, but for any industry where this happens. We have to look at the uncomfortable stuff.
We look away, don't we? When it's someone with money and power.
Yeah, we do. This case, it forces us to look at that.
It does make you question everything. And it leaves you with this unsettled feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what's next?
It's hard to say. The lawyers, the courts, it's all going to play out. We'll probably hear more from witnesses, see more evidence. But you know what? No matter what happens to Diddy, this is already bigger than him. This conversation needed to happen.
Because it could have been anyone, right?
Exactly. Doesn't matter how rich you are, how famous, how powerful, you're not above the law.
It's a lot. But we can't shy away from it. We have to keep asking the tough questions, keep holding these people accountable, keep listening to the people who have been silenced. That's the only way any of this changes.
I completely agree. It's not just about Diddy. It's about something much, much bigger.
That's right. And we appreciate you spending this time with us, going on this deep dive to really understand this complex situation. It's disturbing, it's messy, but it's important. And now we want to hear what you think. Your thoughts on the case, where it goes from here, everything. Head over to social media and let us know. Use hashtag #DiddyDeepDive so we can find you. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep asking those tough questions.